Welcome everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're setting off on a really spectacular visual journey. We're going to take a top-down look at India's absolutely incredible geographical diversity. From towering, freezing mountain peaks down to sun-baked deserts and rushing rivers out to tropical islands, we are going to discover how the very shape of the land fundamentally defines the lives, the cultures, and the history of the people who live there. So grab your virtual hiking boots because we're about to explore a landscape of true extremes.
To really hook into the massive scale of what we're talking about, let's rewind a bit to the year 1984. Rakesh Sharma had just become the first Indian astronaut to travel into space. When the Prime Minister at the time, Indira Gandhi, asked him, "How does India look from space?" he replied with this famous phrase from a classic 20th century poem, "Sare Jahan se acha," better than the whole world. It's a gorgeous sentiment, and today, we're going to look really closely at the physical, geographical mechanics that make it look so breathtaking.
Okay, let's dive right into this. To make sense of this massive subcontinent, we'll break our explainer down into 4 parts. First, the mighty Himalayas. Second, the fertile Gangetic Plains. Third, life in the Thar Desert. And finally, we'll look at the deltas and islands.
Now, our story actually kicks off long before India was the landmass we know today. If you look at this ancient map, India wasn't even attached to Asia yet. It was actually part of a massive supercontinent called Gondwana, nestled right up against Africa. But then, it broke away. Over tens of millions of years, this huge tectonic plate drifted steadily northward across the ancient ocean. And then, around 50 million years ago, it finally smashed into the Eurasian landmass.
So what happens when 2 colossal pieces of the Earth's crust crash into each other? Let's walk through it step by step. You have the breakaway from Gondwana, that long northern drift, and then, boom, the collision with Eurasia. Because neither of these massive plates would just slide neatly under the other, the land between them had literally nowhere to go but up. Think of it like pushing a heavy rug on a slippery floor. If you shove one end, it wrinkles and crumples upward, right? Well, that unimaginable, earth-shattering crunch is exactly how the mighty Himalayan mountains were born.
And honestly, this image brilliantly illustrates that exact process. Notice those distinct folded layers of rock? You can literally see the wrinkles from that colossal collision, completely frozen in solid stone. It's visual proof of the immense, relentless tectonic pressure that literally shoved ancient seabeds thousands of meters up into the sky.
But here's what I find truly fascinating. This collision isn't just some ancient history. It is happening right now, as we speak. The Indian tectonic plate is still pushing into Asia today, but it's doing it incredibly slowly, at a rate of about 5 centimeters a year. To put that kind of deep geological time into perspective for you, that is actually slower than the rate your hair grows.
So the crucial takeaway here is that because India is still stubbornly pushing north, the Himalayas haven't stopped growing. They're actually getting taller by about 5 millimeters every single year. I know, it sounds tiny, right? But over a millennium, that adds up to a staggering 5 meters. The Earth is very much alive, and these mountains are a constant testament to its ongoing power.
So what do we call these ever-growing giants? Well, the word Himalaya is beautifully poetic. It comes from 2 Sanskrit words, Hima, meaning snow, and Alaya, meaning abode or dwelling. Put them together, and you get the abode of snow. Honestly, it's the perfect name for a place that reaches up to touch the sky and holds so much frozen water. Just look at the sheer scale of this abode. Many of these peaks tower well over 8,000 meters high. These are the famous 8,000ers. The range stretches across 6 different countries. But their absolute most vital role, it's life-giving. In the summer, all that melting snow and those sacred glaciers feed massive river systems like the Ganga, the Indus, and the Brahmaputra. Hundreds of millions of people rely on this water for drinking, for farming, for industry, which is exactly why the Himalayas are known as the Water Tower of Asia. And of course, they're deeply sacred, drawing monks and spiritual seekers to ancient monasteries hidden way up high in the peaks.
Now, if we follow that water down from the freezing mountains, we arrive here. This is a sprawling aerial view of Delhi, with the river Yamuna snaking right through it. We've officially entered the vast, fertile Gangetic Plains. You see, those Himalayan rivers don't just bring water. They carry crucial minerals eroded from the rocks up high, depositing them all across this flat landscape to create some of the absolute most fertile agricultural land on the planet.
The contrast between the two is just staggering, isn't it? On one hand, you've got the Himalayas, high altitude, freezing, impossibly rugged, acting as this pristine source of life.
And then on the other hand, you have the Gangetic Plains, incredibly flat, exceptionally fertile, acting as a bustling agricultural hub that sustains insanely dense human populations. It is, quite literally, the perfect geographic partnership. And because these plains are so remarkably vast and flat, they've enabled something else that's absolutely crucial for civilization: connectivity. Just look at how this flat, expansive terrain allows for elaborate transportation networks. For millennia, rivers like the Ganga and Brahmaputra have served as massive aquatic highways for trade. And on land, the flat terrain is absolutely perfect for laying down thousands of miles of railway tracks, moving people and goods efficiently right across the breadth of the country.
Let's move westward now and see how the environment sharply transforms. On the left, you can see the lush, water-rich reality of multi-cropping in the fertile plains. Look at the vibrant green paddy fields. But on the right, that green fades entirely into the stark, golden hues of the Thar Desert. Notice the women carrying metal pots on their heads just to fetch water. The geography here dictates literally everything, from their daily routines right down to their vibrant clothing choices.
So, the Thar is this vast, arid region of rolling sand dunes that spans across states like Rajasthan, Gujarat, Punjab, and Haryana. The environmental conditions here are extreme. I'm talking blistering heat during the day that plunges into freezing cold at night. Water is incredibly scarce. And historically, these harsh, unforgiving conditions meant that the desert actually acted as a massive natural barrier, deterring large armies and mass migration. But, humans are amazingly adaptable. The people of the Thar have developed some truly ingenious methods to not just survive, but thrive. Take a look at this circular underground structure. This is a traditional tanka, or a kund. It's a specially designed underground water collection system, built to harvest and store precious rainwater, keeping it pure for drinking during those long, incredibly dry months. It's really a masterclass in localized, resilient engineering.
And their resourcefulness doesn't stop there. Get this. Here's a fascinating desert life hack. Because women often have to walk long distances every single day just to fetch drinking water, they simply can't afford to waste a drop of it on washing dishes. So what do? The traditional method is to scour dirty utensils with desert sand until they're completely clean. They only use a tiny splash of water for a final rinse, and even that splash is saved to water a plant. So hey, next time you leave the tap running while brushing your teeth, maybe think about the incredible resourcefulness of the folks in the Thar Desert.
All right, leaving the arid west behind, let's follow the rivers all the way to their final stop, the coastline. When a fast-moving river finally hits a larger body of water like an ocean, it slows way down and drops all the sediment it's been carrying. Over time, all that sediment builds up into a triangular or fan-shaped landform called a delta. Rivers like the Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, and Mahanadi all create these rich, sprawling, incredibly fertile deltas right before they meet the sea, forming yet another unique agricultural zone. But hey, not all rivers end in flat, gentle deltas. Let's look at the Peninsular Plateau region, dramatically shown here by the breathtaking Jog Falls in Karnataka. Notice the sheer, abrupt drop of the plateau. The immense, roaring power of this falling water isn't just an amazing thing to look at. It's actively harnessed through massive turbines to generate hydroelectricity. The land is quite literally powering the region.
To really complete our geographic tour, we've got to look beyond the mainland. India's territory also includes some stunning island groups scattered across the surrounding seas. Whether we're talking about the coral atolls of Lakshadweep over in the Arabian Sea or the volcanic Andaman Islands in the Bay of Bengal, these territories add a completely different, tropical dimension to India's already massive geographical portfolio.
So, we've journeyed from tectonic collisions building mountains, all the way to fertile plains, arid deserts, steep plateaus, and ocean islands. We've seen firsthand how the physical shape of the Earth dictates where people live, what they eat, and how they survive. So I want to leave you with this thought. Take a look out your window. How does the physical geography of your own hometown dictate the way you live your daily life? Really think about it. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer, and keep exploring.